no-brainer. Sorry to make you up, Lost. Oh, that's okay, but I'm done.
Hear me okay? Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Nick has been worrying this week about what I'm writing to read. No worries, it's all coded. Okay.
You take disclaimers.
That's why I picked this spot. Hey, let's take bowling for example. Only the ball is as big as a house. It's a boulder. My mom used to take us kids duck pin bowling, where the pins were rather large and the balls were much smaller compared to regular bowling. Like a softball married to a bocce ball. And you could whip that ball down the lane, smacking the triangle pins from the front left for a clean strike. That single target, the first pin in the second row, was my bullseye. The target representing my dad, my brothers, my young rage against the sporting machine. Without that wicked thrust of the bowling ball, it would just meander down the lane to bump friendly-like into a single pin and make it teeter for a breathless moment, wishing it would knock into the other pins, but it only teetered and finally made up its mind to just collapse. So, let's take bowling for example, but imagine that the lanes are all uphill. A very steep mountain actually, and the ball is as big as a house. It's a boulder, remember? And this boulder can be whatever you want it to be. Like my writing, for example. An indelible ink smearing marker boulder. If only I can find where the point is on this boulder. I'm shoving it up the mountain. The boulder seems to have lost any momentum. The weight makes the pen tip impossible to pinpoint, harder to manage all that fine print where I'm bowling for the principles that I believe in. When I turned 13, I found a passion in softball. I was always the second best on the team. I could play first base or shortstop or any outfield. I was a switch hitter and had a wild sidearm throw that went like a bullet. Straight. Vertical. The coaches hated my sidearm throw, said it was unnatural, dangerous. They'd bench me. Strike one. Then in high school, I made the basketball team. 5 foot, almost 4 inches tall. Fast and squirrely, down low where the ball mostly spent its time anyway. But my dad was the star basketball player in his day at that very same high school. And he said no. Instead, he got me a job, a family connection to get me in the ground floor of a grocery store career at the AP&P, the meat department, wrapping chicken and slicing ham and cheese, instead of basketball. But when my younger brother made the basketball team, he didn't have to get a job. He went on to tournaments. Strike two, or foul. Foul ball. My older brother joined the Navy. I wanted to join the Air Force, be a pilot. My dad said no. Actually, he said, no way in hell, young lady. I considered running away, enlisting anyway, but Instead, I went to college for a semester, then dropped out, left that boyfriend that my dad ratted me out on because I was double dipping. I left home, I left the state, never looked back. Strike 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, on and on. I'm out of there. So where did I grow up, really? My youth stifled in pin curls and pedal pushers. Playing ball was my only relief. When I left home, I moved to New Hampshire with my best friends, Donna and Bill. They had just gotten married. And for the next 3 years, we three bears in the woods loved each other, but I was bowling for her. Regardless, when it was time to leave that married couple, after an abortion, I hitchhiked to Tucson with Dan, who dropped me off at a women's dance so we could find a second woman for our love triangle. I was such a nervous wreck that Dan actually had to shove me through the front door of that dance hall, and then he disappeared. When I was born, my mother did not deliver an Amazon. Of course, she had nuclear plans for me, right? Pink dresses and patent leather shoes, everything girly from Easter bonnets to the marriage carriage. But a stakeholder and grandchildren. A son is different. She had 3 of those. The stakes are much higher for girls. Shall I get into that? Not here. I'm bowling right now. When I turned 20, I found my first Amazons at that woman's dance. My mother lost her daughter, and I rolled a perfect strike. I scored. When I found my Amazon tribe, it was a fertile alley for boulder-sized bowling, knocking down pins with gusto. That was my team. My first lesbian lover immediately delivered me onto the Michigan Women's Festival, the mother of all bowling, where I grew up for the next 37 years. I was part of a working community for 4 to 5 weeks, sometimes 3 months a year, right? And it charged, it was a recharge every year. That's my family, to the great dismay of my nuclear family. I learned everything from sisterhood to table saws, and that patriarchy was not on my bowling team. Patriarchy was the target. My mother still has a hard time understanding, and yes, it was very harsh back then when I told her flat out that I basically hated the entitlement of dickheads. My mom proceeded to write a 12-page monologue about the sins of homosexuality interspersed with Bible quotes, Xeroxed it and sent it to every single member of my family, aunts, uncles, cousins, you name it. All about her shame. How do you think that made me feel? I can still feel that. I am a lesbian, separatist, feminist because this is the tribe that I relate to. This is the language that I speak. And yes, of course, there are men in my life, in my family, and they better do some of the fucking dishes when we're all getting together. When my brothers and I went to my dad's funeral several years ago, the Italians called us the boys. They know I'm a lesbian. Oh, okay. It's the mustache. My woman-born mustache, an essential part of my identity. With a heavy heart, I am focusing on gratitude. Gratitude lightens the weight of sorrow. I have much more to be happy about, but my feelings tend to drag this down. Could be menopause, that strange word, that hormonal inconsistency affecting me more than I can control. Could also be habits of thought, genetic patterns, misfired synapses. I see the blocks, the traps, the life snares, the story. I'm older now, but I wouldn't change wiser for youth. I would do many things differently just to see if bowling could get any better. Getting to see who I am, the mustache, the belligerence, the demand for fairness, the awkwardness, the need to know, the validation, and all that veering pursuit of day after day. I could have been kinder, more thoughtful, less selfish. I could have been more like my nuclear family wanted me to be. Breaking through those layers of feeling irritated or feeling less than, feeling too different to fit in. I am much more. I want to be somebody good enough to those closest to me. At that good enough point, I teeter. One side better than that, one side less than that. Sensitive like a bowling pin on the brink of tumbling, collapsing, disappearing. At Mishfest, I had enough validation and a fulfilled heart that overcame many hard parts of a long uphill pursuit. I'm not exactly sure when it peaked. Different things peaked and then plateaued, even slid downhill at different rates. For the most part, it's okay. It ended. But there's a place it's not okay. The old fight for place, for a place to gather as like-minded. The connection is being able to relate on levels expanding and shrinking, caving in, stranded on ledges, grappling. These are not things to be compromised. Disagreements over what is possible. The underlying siege in disguise, the well-funded outside sources that disrupted, infiltrated, boycotted, the facade, the struggle between what it looks like and what it feels like. This is the thing bigger than you or me. But what I have now, right now, is you and me. 37 years of festival made me who I am, then I am different in every circle, not Michigan. I am a wealth of experience that meets yours. I accept who you are. I need you to accept who I am. I can more easily embrace who you are this way. But agreement is like trying to attain world peace. Agreement is like marathon bowling, weary to the point that sleep sounds better than standing ground. You are with your children how I am with what is most dearest to me. I don't quite get yours, you don't quite get mine. But our maternal is no different. Maternally, it doesn't make either one more important than the other. I'm guessing this is the problem. I'm bowling uphill. The very dark places I hit read like the odd one, me the different one in ways I separate myself. And I am separated by others. The dark place stretched back 1,000,000 years, encompassing what feels like the same hopeless future. Some things sort of change, but not really in a world of bowling for peace. Decades have piled on as gravity pulls my jowls down to form wrinkles mapping my history on my face. Then our children grow up and bowling looks like so much fun, except it should be a smartphone app that anyone can play. The balls are called emojis that explode when the pins light up in different colors and multiply, and the different colors represent different moods. You can play on Teams online with people you don't even know to work up to levels where your mood changes depending on how many balls you can earn. Or you can pay in Bitcoins for all the balls you want. You can buy moods, change your mood, even share your moods on social media. It's called Rocket Alley. As the bowling ball grows into unimaginable sizes and shapes, the pins seem to lose significance. They're called ducks now, and everyone's saying that I have to get them in a row now. But I've been trying to knock them down my entire life. And I like knowing who's on my team, like-minded bowlers, and we're working together even when the lane is steep and the balls are really big. There can be more than one bowling team. We do have shades of significance that are simply just different, not right, not wrong. Just friggin' different. I have ideas that I believe in so deeply. We all have our own deep beliefs. I have informed opinions, which I'm afraid do not necessarily match your informed opinions. Look, I love bowling shirts. Always hated bowling shoes.
Yes.
But I know damn well what I'm bowling for. If I can just figure out if I'm right or left-footed. Let's dance.